Good evening and welcome to our fourth episode of Sports Hour of the semester. I'm Kevin Syracuse with Aaron Sember, our NFL analyst. And before we get into the NFL, we have some Fredonia sports to talk about. So, the Fredonia women's tennis team dropped all three of their games this weekend in Binghamton to fall short of the postseason. They lost to Oneonta on Friday, New Paltz on Saturday, and Plattsburgh on Sunday. Fredonia, Plattsburgh, and Cortland finished the SUNYAC schedule in a three-way tie for fourth place with a 3-4 record. Cortland claimed the fourth and final spot in the SUNYAC tournament based on tiebreakers. The Blue Devils finished their season with a 10-4 record and will lose two seniors, Anna Chacha and Averill King. The women's volleyball team lost to Brockport on Friday and to Geneseo on Saturday to drop their record to 1-4 in conference play and 7-11 overall. The women have now lost 5 straight games and will look to right the ship tomorrow night at Houghton. The women's soccer team also went winless this weekend, losing to Oneonta on Friday and tying with New Paltz on Saturday. They are now 1-2 in conference play and 4-5-2 overall. The Blue Devils are back in action Friday and Saturday as they host Geneseo and Brockport. And finally, the men's soccer team also went winless this weekend, falling to Oneonta on Friday and to New Paltz on Saturday. The men are now 1-3 in the SUNYAC and 4-6-2 overall, and they are back in action tomorrow night against Alfred. So, Aaron, not the best weekend for our college sports teams here.
Yeah, we couldn't pick up any wins.
So that's unfortunately that's how it goes sometimes. But my Bills got it done again, and the Bills are now 4-1 this year.
Very impressive, I must admit.
And for once, we're tied with you guys, the Chiefs.
Yeah, we had a tough loss last night to Indianapolis, but we'll come back slowly but surely, hopefully fast, but
Yeah, so starting with the Bills, they pulled out another close one against Tennessee, 14-7. It was another great defensive game from the Bills. The offense, I'll admit, the offense was not that great, but they were good when they needed to be. Josh Allen came through again in the fourth quarter, put another game-winning drive together. It was just under 10 minutes left, so it wasn't in necessarily crunch time, but it was still counts as a fourth quarter comeback. And the Bills got it done again. It was like I said, it was a defensive game, so they didn't score until about 2.5 left in the second quarter, and then Allen threw a bad interception in the third. Tennessee ended up tying it up, and then the Bills, like I said, scored with just under 10 left in the game. So. Yeah, 4-1. Looking at the standings now, the Patriots are alone up top. They are 5-0, and then the Bills and Chiefs are right there at 4-1.
The good thing about you guys is that you have a very great defense, and that's obviously leading your team. The thing about the Chiefs is that at the moment they really have no defense. We're looking for our answer. We've obviously fired, I forgot his name, but now we have Steve Spagnuolo under the defensive coordinator spot, and he's helped us improve, but we're still lacking on defense. And it's very true. Defense, in my opinion, helps for a deeper playoff run. Sure, if your offense is great, like the Chiefs' offense is, where a big play waiting to happen. It obviously didn't happen yesterday against the Colts, but Mahomes was banged up a bit. But at the same time, if your Bills team, leads the charge with that great defense, I don't see why not. Wild card and maybe even win a wild card. Go to the championship game. I hope the best for the Bills, but, the thing about the Chiefs is we just got to find our groove on defense. It's just very aggravating.
Well, listen to this for the Bills. So they are 4-1 entering the bye week and return home for 3 straight weeks to face the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Redskins.
Wow.
And the Dolphins and the Redskins are still winless. Yeah. So you should have at least 2 out of 3 wins there. And then you play the Dolphins and the Jets again this year. Mm-hmm. The Broncos, the Steelers. There are a lot of winnable games. So if the Bills continue this, right now, like I said, the defense is great. The offense is close. They're not there yet. But they use the bye to get healthy. Hopefully Devin Singletary will be back. The offensive line's a little banged up. Josh Allen can recover a little bit more from that concussion, and hopefully they can use that bye to really strengthen themselves in more ways than one, because I think we could be in for a really exciting finish to the, well, not finish, I mean, we still have a lot left, but for the
End of the season.
for the last half
Yeah.
of after the bye, I think it could be something special here.
So going off of these other games, I mean, that Ravens-Steelers game was a very close game. I watched the whole thing, and obviously most of you know if you saw the game that Mason Rudolph took a very scary hit. He was unconscious for a bit.
That was very scary.
Yeah, but at the same time, Earl Thomas felt very bad because he was the one that hit him, and I saw he was actually praying for him and whatnot, and luckily he was actually okay. But at the end of that game, those games, this the Ravens Steelers is what I alluded to in the past week. In my opinion, is kind of like Bills Patriots. It's always
rivalry.
it's always very close.
Division rivalry.
And I was watching the game, and with so odd seconds left, Justin Tucker comes in, and I'm like, he missed it, and then it bends right in. The wind at Heinz Field was just crazy.
It looked like it was going straight at first, then it hooked to the left, and then it hooked back into the right, and just snuck in.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then the the Raiders pulled up a great win against what we thought was the dominant Bears defense. And Kevin, do you think, because obviously Chase Daniels is still the starting QB, do you think the Bears really need Trubisky under center, or do you just think it was an off week?
It's hard to say. I mean, the Bears are similar to the Bills. They have a really good defense and an offense that's still developing and forming. Trubisky had a really good year last year. So if I were to give a good answer to that, I would say yes. They need Trubisky.
Yeah.
I think they can get by with Chase Daniel, but I think you need to have your starting quarterback in if you want to make a run, because the defense can carry them, but it helps to have your starting quarterback in. And the Raiders are 3-2, which probably surprises a lot of people.
Yeah.
They got off to a slow start. They lost Antonio
Brown.
Burfict's out for the year.
Yeah, that's a good sign of so much adversity in the preseason and and whatnot, and you come out. I wouldn't say they're perfect, but 3-2 is a lot better than most of the teams in this league at the moment. A lot of teams I've noticed are struggling early on. That some teams that were even made the playoffs last year. I don't know really off the top of my head, but
there's a whole cluster of teams that are 3-2. Like I said, the Patriots are there 5-0. Bills and Chiefs are 4-1, and then there's 4 or 5 teams that are 3-2.
For example, the 11-5 Chargers of 2018 are now 2-3. It's going into week 6, but
And they just lost to Denver yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Broncos
get their first win.
Yeah, they get their first win.
Yeah. A lot of these teams, it's pretty surprising, but I don't like the Raiders. They're, the division rivals, but at the same time, it's good on them that, fight through all this adversity and whatnot. John Gruden is great. He's a great coach, and I hope the best for them, but not really. Not a deep playoff run and whatnot. Yeah, like you said, the Broncos beat the Chargers 20-13, and obviously lately the Chargers have been really good. Like I said, 11-5, but they're now down to 2-3, and do you think they're going back to their old, bad season selves? I know that's a weird saying, but before 2018 and 2017, they really weren't that good. So what do you think? Do you think? I know it's early, but
I think they'll figure it out because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Phillip Rivers, and they have Melvin Gordon back now.
Yep.
Now, Gordon only ran 12 times for 31 yards, but it's his first game action all year. So I don't think a lot of people expected him to come out and run for 200 yards like Leonard Fournette did on the Broncos last week.
Yeah.
But I think the Chargers will figure it out. Like you said, the season's still young.
Mm-hmm.
And then elsewhere, Houston demolished Atlanta 53-32.
Atlanta's another team. We were thinking that, they're going to be good. Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, the upcoming star and whatnot.
Matt Ryan's back. Devontae Freeman.
They're only 1-4.
Yeah.
It's early. It's early. Granted, it's early, but they're not really finding their groove. Usually the Falcons are fighting to top that NFC South spot. Yeah, NFC South, right? Yep.
Deshaun Watson was 28 of 33, 426 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Hopkins, he had 88 yards, but Will Fuller, 217 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I remember there was a ridiculous stat about Will Fuller that, a couple years ago he had 7 catches for like 7 touchdowns and like 245 yards. So he's a dynamic player. And finally, the Bengals are a close one to the Cards, 26-23. So that wraps up the AFC. So yeah, would you like to
We'll
wrap
be back
it
in a
up?
couple minutes, and Dante will be on to talk about the NFC.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that?
Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Dante Lasting on with us now to talk about the NFC. So Dante, first things first, first game of the week, Seattle and I almost said St. Louis, LA, the LA Rams, one of the best games we've seen in a while, 30-29.
Definitely. It was a great game. Just the Seahawks, they really showed their dominance, just trucking through. It was a 1-point game, 30-29, so you can really tell that the Seahawks mean business this year. Last year, going into the season, you didn't really know if they were, rebuilding, if they were a playoff team. They ended up making the playoffs. But they've definitely improved. They got Jadeveon Clowney. He's been a big influence. Did you see that catch? Did you see that catch by Tyler Lockett?
Unreal.
That might be the catch
Unreal.
of the year. The announcers thought that Russell Wilson was throwing it away, comes down with it, toe drag swag. It was incredible.
That was, first of all, for Wilson to escape that.
Yes.
And then to find Lockett, and then for Lockett to do what he did, that, like you said, definitely one of the catches of the year, if not one of the plays of the year, just because
Definitely.
everything that went into it. And that being said, Russell Wilson, he has to be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he does get the, I don't know, maybe attention or the hype that he deserves, but I still feel like he could be better. Like, I feel like if you were to give your top 7 or 8 quarterbacks, he's out of that. I feel like he's kind of on the outside of the top 8 looking in, and I feel like he could really be a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback. He's that good.
Definitely. You can really see it with all the other quarterbacks that they compare him to, and he doesn't get a lot of attention just because their offense, it goes through the run. He has had big games this year, but more or less, they run the ball a lot, and that's why they win most of their games.
Yeah, so the other night he was 17 of 23 for 268 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he really had a big game.
And I believe he still hasn't thrown an interception this year.
No, he has not.
So
And that's just another reason they're showing their dominance in the NFC, and they're challenging the Packers for the top of it.
yeah. So next game we have Carolina and Jacksonville. Carolina and Kyle Allen pulled this one out again. Kyle Allen is 4-0 now, and the Panthers took this one 34-27. So what did you see in this game?
I saw Christian McCaffrey run the ball like no one else. This player is so good. He had 19 attempts, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. On the ground, and through the air, he had 6 receptions, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. Just total dominance, and I don't know any other running back that's like him.
Yeah, it was 176 rushing yards, so I think it was like 218 scrimmage yards he had yesterday. That's just crazy. And he has more total scrimmage yards than Todd Gurley and Zeke Elliott combined this year.
Definitely. He's really playing good. And if you have him for fantasy, you're winning a lot of games.
Yeah. So the next game, New Orleans and Tampa Bay. New Orleans won again without Drew Brees. They took this one 31-24.
I really think the Saints could go all the way.
I hope
really
they do. If the Bills don't get there, I'm a Saints fan this year.
I really think with everything that's happened the past 2 years and just how great of a coach Sean Payton is, all of his life he had Drew Brees, all of his time as a coach. And he finally gets to prove that he can do it without Drew Brees. Bridgewater threw for 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns against the up-and-coming Bucs. So, and their defense played well. They're really looking good. They also, I think it's the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Saints right now on the top of that AFC East that could possibly make a Super Bowl run.
AFC East.
I'm sorry. At top of the NFC. I got Bills on my mind. I'm a Bills fan. Got the AFC East on my mind.
Yeah, those 3 teams are looking real good this year. And, I mean, the Rams are still good, too.
Definitely.
They're just not as good as they were last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with Todd Gurley. He's not the same guy that he was last year. But the Rams are still there, I would say, too. Now, another team that should be there, but they're not, at least yet, Minnesota. They did win yesterday against the Giants 28-10, but there are a lot of questions in that organization right now.
There really are. It seems to be every week. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. People are bashing them one week. People are praising them the next. There's really no clarity, and I hope it doesn't keep up. I really like the Vikings. I like Kirk Cousins. I like the wide receivers. And I really don't want them to go 8-8. I don't want them to keep going on this track of inconsistency and just bland on offense. Consistency is key in the NFL. And if you're bland, it's not great. But this week, they beat the Giants. They got back on track. The squeaky wheel got the grease. Adam Thielen, even though he called out Kirk Cousins, he had 2 touchdowns. So, but the Giants, they have a big test. They have the Super Bowl matchup against the Chiefs. Not the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Against the Patriots.
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night Super Bowl rematch against the Patriots.
A lot of people thought that would be the last time we saw Brady versus Eli, but now it's Daniel Jones versus
It is
Brady,
the Daniel Jones era.
Yeah, and Thielen finally showed up for my fantasy team. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like you said, he spoke out because he was mad he wasn't getting the ball, as he should. He's one of the top receivers in the league. And Stephon Diggs has been fined over $200,000 for missing practices and meetings and stuff. So I didn't see the stats. Would he end up with receiving?
I don't know offhand, but I know
it 44 yards. That's
okay.
What it was. So really
Wasn't
not much
much
for him.
but
at least it got Thielen going again, though.
Yes, definitely.
So after this game, Eagles and Jets, the other New York team lost. So the other New Jersey team lost. So a combined 16 points from those 2 teams. The Eagles took this one 31-6. And the Jets are hoping that they're going to have Sam Darnold back next week against Dallas because they need Sam Darnold at this point.
They really do. If Adam Gase wants to run his offense like he said he was, that's why he got the job, they really need Sam Darnold back. It's not looking good. And he practiced. He got all of the first-team reps this week and didn't play. So I don't know why you would do that if you really didn't know if he was going to play, because that gives no time to the quarterback that ended up playing. And you could see 31-6. The Eagles' defense just totally dominated. They had 10 sacks, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 touchdowns. I had them on my fantasy team, but just total domination over a Jets team that just looks lost right now.
Next game, Patriots and Redskins. Redskins did score first. I thought they had a chance, but in the end, Patriots remain undefeated, 33-7. And there's not much to say about this game other than Jay Gruden finally got fired.
Yes.
At 5 in the morning.
Yep, 5 in the morning. He got the call. He went to the stadium and they fired him.
I think it's the right move.
Oh, definitely. I think they're still going to have problems because there's problems with the ownership and the GM. But I don't know. The Redskins franchise, it's in trouble right now. They have a young quarterback, and hopefully a new head coach can fix that.
Yeah, because there were reports that Dwayne Haskins knew or at least could sense that Jay Gruden did not like him and didn't want to draft him. So that might have went into how Haskins has been performing this year because he really hasn't been that well between the preseason and last week when he got in. So whoever is the interim coach is going to have a tough task to figure out who's going to be the quarterback between Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, and Dwayne Haskins.
Definitely. And you see, if your team drafts a quarterback, as a head coach, even if you're not with it, you get on board or you get out of the building. Because that's just how it is in the NFL. If your team puts the capital into drafting a quarterback, as a head coach, you got to be with them or you'll be out the door. And the interim head coach actually said that Dwayne Haskins isn't in the running just because he's not ready.
Oh, that's right. They did hire the interim. Who is it?
It was their offensive line coach. I don't remember the name offhand, but yes. But so they do have an interim head coach, and they can get ahead on interviewing for their next head coach.
So the last game we had, and this is a good one too, it looked like a blowout at first, but the Cowboys came back. They were down 31-3, but only lost 34-24. And it could have been 27, but Brett Maher missed the field goal in the last few minutes. But the Packers hang on. They're 4-1 too, and the Packers have a really good team this year.
Definitely. They, like I said before, they're one of those top teams in the NFC. And the Cowboys, that missed kick, it really stopped the momentum because he makes that kick. They try to still tie it up. But because of that, you knew the game was over. But Aaron Jones just totally ran all over the Cowboys. So the Cowboys just looked weak on defense. 107 yards and 4 touchdowns, 7 receptions for 75 yards. Another epic fantasy day. Just you have some of these players just making a total effort for fantasy, and they either lost you or they won you your games.
If you had Aaron Jones and Christian McCaffrey as your 2 running backs, you probably would have had at least 100 points. And those 2 guys probably would have won your league alone.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
So,
but yeah, I'm excited to see the Packers play. I'm excited to see the Cowboys, how they can bounce back. If they lose to the Jets next week, then that's kind of tough. But yeah, but I'm excited.
Yeah, and one last game tonight. We have Cleveland and San Francisco kicking off right about now for the final game of Week 6. Week 5. Week 5.
Yep.
So thank you for coming on, Dante. And Mac will be on to talk about the MLB playoffs. So stay tuned.
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that?
Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Happy to have Mac Clune on the show with us again, and Mac is the one who came up with these awesome graphics. So for the first time, WNYF TV Sports Hour has some nice graphics here, and as we progress through this segment, you will see a nice bracket of the playoffs coming up. So,
thank you. Glad to be part of the team.
And here they are.
Here it is.
So
we've
the
got
debut of the graphics.
So what's our first series here, Kevin?
So the first series we have Twins and Yankees. My Yankees are up 2-0, and first pitch for Game 3 is slated for 8:40, so just about 10 minutes away. And so far the series has been all Yankees, huh, Mac?
Yep. So this is an interesting series because I feel that these teams have a lot of history with each other. They were both chasing for the home run record this year. The Twins set the entire league record for its entire history with 307 home runs, whereas the Yankees were right behind with 306. These two teams have a really big history with playing each other. The Twins have been historically bad against the Yankees. Since 2010, they are 21-52 against the Yankees. Currently in the series, the Yankees are up 2-0, and the Twins have not been able to break through their pitching. The Twins have now lost a record 15 games in the playoffs. They've been outscored 95-45 in these games. So do you want to go over Game 1?
Yeah, so the Yankees took that one by a final of 10-4, and that one, we've been talking about him every episode, but that was DJ LeMahieu's game.
Yep.
4 RBIs, 3-run double, solo home run. The guy's incredible.
Definitely their MVP. 3 hits, 1 home run, 4 RBI. Brett Gardner also hit a home run. And also an interesting thing about this game was that the Yankees won Game 1 without hitting a home run until the 6th. So for a team that's generally seen for all their home run hitting power, it's good that they were able to get guys on bases and move in the runs naturally.
And I believe all the scoring, I was so mad. I was at work on, that was Friday night, correct? Game 1.
Yep.
I was at work, and we did not get the Yankees game. It was on MLB Network, so we couldn't get it. So I was just checking on my phone throughout work, but I was so mad that we couldn't watch it.
It was a good game. They set the pace for the series. James Paxton gave up 2 home runs in 4 innings before being pulled, but he had 8 strikeouts, which is a good positive.
Yeah, I was going to say the Yankees really blew it open in the 6th inning, I believe, right?
Yep.
So it was the 6th inning when they had the outpour of runs, and they took that one 10-4, and then Game 2 they took 8-2, and the I don't know if you'd say MVP, but one of the main reasons we won that game, Didi, grand slam.
Yep, Didi hit the grand slam.
And Tanaka threw a masterpiece.
The Yankees really beat up on the Twins rookie Randy Dobnak. DJ LeMahieu hit a leadoff double, and things didn't get much better from there.
And this is really interesting. Dobnak was an Uber driver last year.
Yes, the Yankees fans were chanting Uber, Uber. That was their chant. So maybe they got it in his head. Who knows?
Yeah, so from carting people around to pitching in the MLB playoffs. What a ride for that guy.
Yep.
So, Game 3 is just about 10 minutes away and in Minnesota. So hopefully the Yankees can close this out tonight.
Really quickly, going back to Game 7, Didi in the bottom of the 3rd hit a grand slam to make it 7-0. Torres, Stanton, and Carcion and Gardner also scored runs for the Yankees. And Masahiro Tanaka threw 5 excellent innings, striking out 5, only allowing 3 hits and 1 run.
So the next series we have the Rays and the Astros. The Rays took the wildcard game over the Athletics. And
so real quick, for the Twins and the Yankees, who do you think is going to move on to the next round? The Yankees are up 2-0 right now. I think you got to take the Yankees. They got the history. They've got 2 games up on them right now, and I don't see the Yankees. Their hitters are so good. I don't see them not taking that series. So, Sports Hour pick is we think the Yankees are going to move forward in the bracket.
Yep. And just to note, these picks were made before the playoffs started.
Yes.
So I'm not saying the Yankees are going to win because they're up 2-0. I had them I had them winning the series before.
Let's see how far we go.
So the next series we have the Rays and the Astros. Like I said, the Rays beat the A's in the wild card. and now they won today, so they avoided getting swept, but they're still down 2-1.
Yep. So game 1, the Astros took it 6-2. Altuve hit 2 home runs. Jordan Alvarez and Bregman both drove in runs. This is what we've been talking about with this team all season long. This pitching lineup is so good. How are you going to get past them? Verlander put up an amazing start. He was hitless through 5 innings. He ended up with 7 innings pitched, 1 run, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So he's been delivering. He delivered again. He's been phenomenal the second half of the season. He just keeps coming.
And then game 2, the other stud, Garrett Cole, was just phenomenal. I think it was 7 2/3 he went.
Yes, 7 shutout innings. 7 shutout innings and 15 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, we've talked about this the trio, but Greinke did get beat today. Verlander, Cole, and Greinke. I seriously don't see how this team can be stopped when you have a 3-headed monster like that, because any one of those guys could be an ace on any other team. You put Garrett Cole on the Twins, he's their ace. You put Zach Greinke on the Dodgers, well, I don't know with Kershaw, but the point is that they have 3 number 1 guys going for them right now, and that is really tough to bring down.
Yep, and game 2 for the Rays, Blake Snell pitched well, 4 innings with only 1 run given up, but he didn't go deep into the game like both of the Astros pitchers have been able to. In game 2, Bregman hit a home run. Altuve and Correa both batted in runs. The Rays in that game had bases loaded with no outs in the top of the 9th, but they were only able to score 1 run, and they lost the game right after. The Astros are looking to close up this series in the 3rd game with Greinke on the mound, which didn't happen because that game was played today. The Rays are fighting to stay alive with Charlie Morton on the mound today, who's their best pitcher. And the result of that game was game 3. The Rays won 10-3 today.
Yeah, so the Rays had a nice bounce back. It was good to see Tampa. The fans came out for once because so many times we've seen.
They talked about getting relocated early in this season. They talked about maybe moving them to Montreal half the season, which is interesting.
Actually, quick note: did you know that when the Rays came into the league, it was between them and Buffalo for the expansion team? Yeah, so the Buffalo almost had an MLB team. That's why the roof is so big, because they made it so they could build a 3rd deck on.
No.
But it went to Tampa. So we've seen the Twins have some spotty attendance this year, but Rays fans showed up today, and it was good to see, because as a Yankees fan, I don't like the Rays, but also as a Yankees fan, I want the Rays to win, because I honestly do not see the Yankees getting past the Astros.
Yep.
So I'm pulling for the Rays here.
So going back to game 3, Greinke was the starting pitcher in this game. He is the first 3 of the Astros pitchers to not deliver. He threw up 3.5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 6 earned runs, and 5 Ks, which is not the start you want. To give him some credit, the Rays did take this in their home. This was their home game, the first of the series, so they were expected to win this, and they also had their ace pitcher, Charlie Morton, on the round, who threw a good playoff game. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts.
The ex-Astro, Charlie Morton.
Yep, ex-Astro. He was the guy that helped them win their title in 2017.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay today hit 4 home runs, so their power came through, and interestingly enough, Verlander is up next to pitch with only 4 days rest, and he's going to be pitching in Tampa Bay. So Astros are banking on this game to close out the series.
Is that okay? It is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4:15.
Yep, tomorrow.
So I can't go against Verlander. I think they close it out.
Well, another interesting thing is that the Astros are going with Verlander on the mound, and Tampa is going to take a game with their bullpen starting the mound. They're going to have Kevin Cash and Diego Castillo, who are their bullpen arms, who are going to start the game, and they're going to take them out in the 3rd. So you have an ace versus 2 secondary pitchers. So it's interesting to see who's going to take it home.
Tampa always does some tricky stuff like that. So I think we can both agree here. We have Houston.
Yep, I definitely have the Houston eliminating the Rays and moving on to face the Yankees.
All right, so are we going?
Real
are we
quick,
choosing the ALCS first, or are we doing the divisional series?
What's our pick for the Yankees and the Astros?
Okay, like I was just saying, I love the Yankees. The Yankees have a great team, but the Astros are just so good. I do not see the Astros losing this year. I got to go the Astros here.
Yep, I'm also taking the Astros to advance to the World Series in the ALCS.
Man, I love those graphics. Great job with that.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
love having graphics behind us now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, like I said, the Yankees have a great team, and we're at the point now where there's a lot of guys that aren't even playing because there's so much depth. But Houston just has so much depth and so much talent.
Yep.
I don't see them going down.
So when we come back, we're going to be coming in with the NL playoff bracket. Thank you.
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that?
Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
And welcome back. So now for the NL portion of our segment here. So first with the Cardinals and the Braves, we have the Braves, or I was going to say the Braves are up, but...
Braves are up 2-1 right now.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So, no, okay, I knew that was wrong. The Cardinals won today. The series is tied.
Oh, it's
That's what it is.
2-2.
Yeah.
They played just before this at 6:40.
Right before we
yeah.
came in. So the Cardinals...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the Cardinals
Live
walked it off
updates.
as we were walking in. So they took that one 5-4.
They won in overtime, yep.
And now that series is tied at 2.
Yep, so going through the games, we're going to go to game 1 first. The Cardinals won this game 7-6. Really interesting game, a lot of developments in this. Dallas Keuchel was the starter for the Braves, whereas Mike Mikolas was the starter for the Cards. Mikolas for the Cardinals pitched 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Whereas Keuchel for the Braves, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 0 strikeouts. Another Astros pitcher that's on another playoff team, so it's interesting. This game's interesting because it has low strikeout totals for both pitchers. The Braves ended up going up 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Goldschmidt hit a home run in the top of the 9th to make it 3-2. And Acuna, did you see this? He hit a bomb.
I didn't see it,
that
but I
went
heard
to the
about it,
right
yeah.
field. And what he did was he showboated and looked like he was going to throw a bat flip, but before he could flip his bat, the ball hit the top of the wall and bounced in. And since he was so slow to walk to first base, he only got a single out of it. So, and what ended up happening in this game is that the Cardinals won 7-6. So if he had to stretch that to another base, he could have been batted in and they could have had a tie game. So Acuna, who's had a problem with showboating in the past, I know that he did it against the Mets where he robbed a home run and then dropped it after landing because he was like, showing it off, like look at me. And I've seen him pimp home runs in the past and then they haven't gone out of the park. So it's like an interesting problem with Acuna that he keeps doing this and it cost him in the playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I forgot to watch the highlights of that, but I don't know why you would do that in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, you better be going 110% on every play.
You got to hustle all year in the playoffs.
Exactly.
You have no opportunity to do something like that in the playoffs.
Bat flips are funny. They're cutesy, whatever. Save that for the regular season.
And now they're 2-2. If they were 2-1 before, if they had won that game, they could have won the whole series. So just that's what's crazy about baseball. It's just that one play could have gotten them the whole series.
Yeah, so then in Game 2, the Braves responded and won 3-0. And you want to tell us more about that, Mac?
Yeah, so the Braves shut out the Cardinals. Mike Foltynewicz had an excellent game. He went 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 0 earned runs. He shut them out in that. So the Braves had their best pitching performance of the season. Donaldson and Duvall drove in RBIs in that game. Jake Flaherty started for the Cardinals with a solid start. He also went 7 innings, which is really good in the playoffs, but he did give up 3 runs. And St. Louis just generally could not get their bats going in that game. Another home game in Atlanta, so that has to do with it. And an excellent pitching performance from Foltynewicz, who got pulled out, I think, with 95 pitches in the 7th, so he could have gone another inning.
So then in Game 3 yesterday, it looked like the Cardinals were going to bounce back and win that one to go up 2-1.
Yeah, this
but
was
the
a crazy
Braves
game.
responded in St. Louis to get the comeback victory. They won. They were going into the 9th inning, down 1-0, and it ended up winning 3-1.
Yep.
And
Mike Soroka, the Braves rookie, he pitched very well. He had 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And Adam Wainwright, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. This was a really good pitcher's duel between Wainwright, who's considered the Cardinals' ace, and Soroka, who, as a rookie, is considered the Braves' ace.
And
the ending of this game is what was really crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say a sneaky good player for the Braves that a lot of people don't even talk about or remember is Adam Duvall, who used to be with the Reds.
Yep.
He had a big game in Game 2, and in Game 3 comes through again.
He's had an excellent postseason. Carlos Martinez came into the game, and he wasn't able to get it done. Swanson hit a double in the 9th with 2 outs to tie the game, and then Swanson and Duvall came back in the top of the 9th to make it 3-1, having the Braves seal the game to 3-1. So Carlos Martinez really just blew the save. They were up 0-1 coming into the 9th, and he couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, so like we said, the Cardinals, even the series right before we came into the station, they took that one 5-4, and the series is now tied at 2. So, let's see.
Well, we have a pick at Sports Hour, but now we're 2-2.
Game 5 is Wednesday in Atlanta.
Yeah,
so
they're going back to Atlanta. Their probable picture, they can't use Soroka now. So I'm curious as to who they're going to throw out. Maybe they'll put out Cuttrell again, because I know he pitched in Game 1.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Dallas Keuchel probably gets it for Game 5. So who are you taking here, Mac?
I'm going to take the Braves still. I like their record a lot. They won a lot more games than St. Louis did, and I think they're going to move on until the NLCS.
Me too. If they do have Keuchel on the mound, I love their chances, and they're returning home. And like we've been saying all semester, they're just one of the most complete teams in the league, especially now with Adam Duvall turning it on too.
Yep, so real quick, the Brewers lost in the wild card game to the Nationals, which leads us to our next series, which is the Nationals versus the NL leading Dodgers. What do you think of this series so far?
I think this has been a really good series. I think a lot of people thought that, well, first of all, I think a lot of people thought that the Brewers were going to win the wild card. And I think a lot of people were surprised that the Nationals won. And I think a lot of people just assume that the Dodgers are going to win, but the Nationals have given them a run for their money.
Yep. So going into the series right now, it is 2-1. I just looked up the live score, and currently the Nationals are leading the Dodgers 5-1 in the 5th. So we might have another tied series in the NL, which is crazy. In this series, in Game 1, the Dodgers won 6-0. Walker Buehler started for the Dodgers, Patrick Corbin for the Nats. Buehler threw 6 scoreless, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Corbin threw 6 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 9 Ks, and 5 walks. It was an interesting early of the game. I know that Corbin got into some trouble in the first inning. He actually walked the bases loaded and then walked a run in. But after that, he was pretty flawless.
Yeah, so it was just a great game for the Dodgers in Game 1, and then Game 2, that was all Steven Strasburg. He threw a masterpiece, and I believe he had a no-hitter going into, I think he lost his no-hitter in the 5th inning. So that was a game at work that we did have on because it was on, is it FS1 that night? So I was able to watch that game, and Strasburg was just on fire that night.
Yeah, and that was another really good matchup. That was Strasburg versus Kershaw. So that's another all-star matchup in the playoffs, and both of those guys delivered. They pitched a great game.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because as good as Kershaw is, he doesn't have the postseason stats to back it up.
No, that's always been the criticism with Kershaw, is that he struggled in the postseason. So, again, it seems like he's thrown another not great game. Or he did pretty well, but 3 earned runs, and I remember he gave up a run right away in the first, so he struggled a little bit.
Yeah, but the Dodgers did respond last night, and they got, what was it, 7 runs?
Yes, 7 runs in, I believe, the 5th inning.
5th or 6th inning, yeah. So it was another good game with Washington. They just blew it open halfway through the game, and they took Game 3, 10-4, and like we said, it is currently 5-1
so we'll
in
see
favor
what
of
develops.
Washington right now at the end of the 5th.
What's your pick here, Kevin?
So I got to go the Dodgers here.
Yep, I'm going to go the Dodgers too. Dodgers move on and eliminate the Nationals, and then what's your pick for the Braves and the Dodgers real quick?
Well, the Dodgers have been in the World Series the last 2 years, and they have lost each year, but I think they're not going to make it this year because it's just the Braves, I think, are just too good of a team. So I'm going Houston and Atlanta in my World Series.
Yep, and I'm going to take the opposite direction. I'm going to take the Dodgers, so then we're going to have a Houston and a Dodgers playoff series. So then moving on, we have our World Series set up, and who are you taking?
I got to go Houston.
Yep, I'm going Houston too. So that's our official Sports Hour pick, is Houston to win the 2019 World Series.
And with that, thank you for coming on the show. And Josh will be on in just a couple minutes to talk some hockey with us. So stay tuned.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that?
Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Just traded Zay Jones to the Oakland Raiders for a 2021 fifth-round pick that just came in now. So
wow,
there's been a lot of speculation. He had 1 snap yesterday compared to Duke Williams' 51 snaps. So Zay Jones is gone. So with that, we will get into hockey now. And hockey's back, Josh.
Yeah,
and
big opening
better than
week.
ever. Sabres are 2-0.
Oof, yeah, I love it. I love it so much. We'll start off here. The NHL released their 3 stars of the week for the first week of the year. Coming in at number 3, we have Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs with 5 goals in 2 games. Stellar performance by Matthews as always. I mean, you know the guy's going to perform. Second one, kind of surprising to me, Anthony Mantha of the Detroit Red Wings. He also had 5 goals in 2 games, but he arguably was the better player among himself and Matthews. He had more assists, and his first line in Detroit has carried that team so far this year, and they are 2-0 as well.
And 4 of those goals came in one game.
Right, yeah. Mantha's just been on fire. Mika Zibanejad is the #1 star for the week for NHL with 8 points in 2 games. 3 of those points, three goals coming in one game, his first game, and him and Artemi Panarin are bringing that New Jersey offense, New York Rangers offense, excuse me. They're just lighting it up out there. It's crazy.
You think the Rangers are in for a quick rebuild or a slow rebuild?
I mean, with the results they've had so far, I would say quick, because they've had production from every one of their new signings. I mean, Zibanejad's been there for a while, but in my opinion, he's always been kind of a sleeper. But they've had production from Jake Trouba. They've had production from Artemi Panarin. Kaapo Kakko still has yet to score his first goal, but he's going to get it eventually. He's #2 overall pick. But,
yeah, I think it's kind of like the Yankees. The New York teams.
Right. Yeah.
New York people, they're impatient. They need a quick rebuild. The Yankees, they lost their core players. They quickly reloaded, and they're back. I think that's the same with the Rangers.
Right. So yeah, I have some of the games of the week so far. There've been a lot of crazy games, as you said at the beginning. The Sabres are 2-0. They beat the Penguins 3-1 in their first game, and they absolutely destroyed the New Jersey Devils in their home opener, 7-2. Sabres goals came from Victor Olofsson, Sam Reinhart, Jack Eichel, Kyle Okposo, Jeff Skinner. Olofsson and Reinhart each had 2. This is a completely different Sabres team. Like, it is without a doubt a much better team than last year, and they have almost the same exact roster. They've controlled the puck. They've kept up their forecheck, forcing simple errors from New Jersey that led to more pressure in the offensive zone. They created 12 scoring chances and 1 goal from just their forecheck.
It really
It's been amazing.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, was it really Phil Housley? I know it's just 2 games, but they just look so much better right now under Ralph Krueger.
Right, and they looked just like this in the preseason. It was crazy. They've really turned themselves around, and I'm really happy with what they're doing. I hope they can keep it up.
And there's a lot of energy in the building,
right,
in the locker room. Everyone seems to like Krueger, so it seems like Phil Housley was more of a problem than we thought. But like I said, it's still early.
Right. It's only 2 games.
Yeah,
well,
and
3 games tonight.
Yeah, and Sabres are currently tied with Columbus. Last we checked, 2-2.
Yeah, with goals from Johansson and Skinner. Second game of the week I had was Toronto and Ottawa. This was the first game of the season for the NHL. Toronto beats Ottawa 5-3. It didn't look like it at first. Ottawa jumped out to an early lead 26 seconds into Toronto's home arena. That's tough to do. Most teams have trouble scoring 1 goal against Toronto in their home arena. And this Ottawa team, who's not stellar, scored in 26 seconds. That's really good for them.
And aren't these 2 teams like polar opposites? Ottawa's projected to be last, and Toronto's projected to be one of the best, right?
Right, yeah. Toronto's loaded. They have Auston Matthews. They have
John Tavares.
John Tavares, Kasperi Kapanen, Mitch Marner, who just signed an outrageous deal. But no, this is a great one for both teams, honestly. It's good promise for Ottawa, and obviously Toronto, they're going to be good. They're 3-0 right now. The final game of the week I had was New Jersey versus Winnipeg. This one I picked because New Jersey was winning this game 4-0 at home opener, going into the third period. Looked like they were going to cruise to an easy win, easy home opener. Winnipeg scores with about 2 minutes to go in the second period, and then just turns on the offense like crazy. Scores 4 goals in 15 minutes in the going into the third period, and then goes on to win it 5-4 in a shootout. So Winnipeg just came in and played spoilers against New Jersey in their home opener, and it was just, I think this is part of the reason why the Sabres were so dominant over New Jersey the next night, is because New Jersey's down and out. They lost their home opener. They were out shooting the Jets every period no, not even except. They were out shooting them every period, and the Jets were still able to win. They showed perseverance and defensive stability later in the game, and they have a surprisingly weak defensive core, losing guys like Tyler Myers, Dustin Byfuglien, and I'm surprised as to how they're doing. Like, that's kind of shocking to me.
Do you think the Devils will be any good this year now that they have Jack Hughes, the #1 overall pick, or do you think they're in for more of a slower rebuild than the Rangers?
I think they could be good. I really do think that they could be good. They have guys like PK Subban, Wayne Simmons. They picked both of those guys up from Nashville in the offseason. They have Kyle Palmieri, who's always been a good producer for them. Jack Hughes.
Zajac, right?
Yep, Travis Zajac he scored against
the Sabres.
I think, yeah, he did score against the Sabres. And Jack Hughes as well, but Jack Hughes has yet to net his first NHL goal. I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think New Jersey's going to be a little slower than quicker, but I don't see why they couldn't be quick. They have the guys to do it. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, so once again, Sabres and Columbus are tied at 2 at the end of 2. So we'll see. I mean, the Sabres can start 3-0. The Bills are 4-1. It's an exciting time to be in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Huh?
This is a great time to be in Buffalo. I can't remember the last time Sabres started 3-0, and I would love to see it. I want to see them get at least the playoffs this year for the 50th season. Get something for RJ, the announcer, because
they have to do it for him.
He's coming towards the end of his career. I want to see him commentate one more Stanley Cup playoff run.
Yeah, and real quick, what do you think of those new jerseys, the 50th anniversary?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Look great on the ice. Those mitts, those socks, those jerseys, everything.
Hey, you look good, you play good.
Oh, yeah. Look good, feel good, play good.
So with that, thank you, Josh, and thank you for listening to another episode of Sports Hour. We'll be back next week for our 5th episode. And go Bills.